Hi everyone, this is Ben. You saw our previous video where I modified a Sega Nomad with a modern LCD screen. I wanted to make a follow-up video to make your lives a little easier. Basically, here's your Sega Nomad. It is powered by a Sega AC adapter, just like this. Now that we've done the modernized LCD screen mod, you can then modify it again so that it will run on a modern USB connection and get rid of this clunky thing. So I will show you what you need in order to do this. You need female micro USB to dip 5-pin pin board. You can buy it on Amazon. It comes in a 10-pack, $6.59. This is actually what one of them looks like. Very small, as you can see, a micro USB slot fits right in there. And we're gonna connect this to the Sega Nomad, and hopefully, if all goes well, at the end of this, we're gonna be able to play games on this thing with connecting it to a USB. I have all my parts ready. I got my soldering iron, my solder, my pieces, my Sega Nomad, and a hot glue gun, just so that you know what you're looking at. So, in the previous video, when I modified the LCD screen, I showed you step by step how to take apart your Nomad. I'm not going to rehash that. If you want to see how to do that, you can watch the first video. So let's assume you've watched the first video and you want to do this mod. So get to the part where you've dismantled your Nomad and you got your pieces loose. It can be cleanly and easily lifted. The motherboard can be lifted out of the shell. So that's where we're at. So I took the liberty of sort of starting this mod. And in order to do that, what I did was I took my mini USB dip board and I soldered a red VCC at the top and a black ground line to ground on the bottom. The other thing that I did in order to prep for this to make time a little shorter was, because of my previous LCD modification, the original Nomad screen had a brightness control that was located right here. It had a wheel that looked exactly like the volume control. All I did, I took the board out, I desoldered the 2 points that held it together, I took my little screwdriver, flathead, stuck it underneath, twisted it, and it popped right out. Once the brightness control has been loosened from the board and desoldered, you can then pull it away and actually just snap off the connections. So bear with me, I'm just going to do that right now. Just like so. And it comes right off, and you can just discard this. This is trash. So I'm just going to set the board back into the chassis so you can see. I've got a beautiful, clean spot to mount my USB board. So I'm just going to show you where it's going to go, which is going to be right there. So now that I've got this all sort of soldered up and ready to go, I got a nice spot for it on my board. I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm going to carefully glue it down because this is where I want it. All right, we got our USB board glued down to the motherboard. So we have our wires run underneath the motherboard, like so. So I'll flip this around so you can see what I'm doing. And they're gonna go right here, which is gonna be the same exact spot that we wired the wires for the LCD screen. So you can see TP209 for the 5-volt source and TP210 for the ground. So I'm just gonna solder these now. Okay, I got everything all soldered. Just wanna take a quick shot of what it's gonna look like when you're done. So from here, we're gonna button everything back up. Just gonna flip this over and take an obnoxiously long amount of time to reroute all my wires that I now have plenty of. All right, so I got everything all soldered up. You saw the solder points. Just gonna talk a little bit about finishing this, buttoning it all up. So you wanna reconnect your speaker You want to reconnect the start board, and you got 1, 2, 3 screw points to screw the motherboard back down to the chassis. Be very careful, as I learned the hard way. You want to make sure that none of your several wires are binding in any place when you put this back together. Additionally, don't forget about your on-off button switch. Once you have all those things in place, basically just try to make your wires look as good as you can. It's going to be tough because there's a lot. Route them so that they're not, floppy in anything's way. So once you're comfortable with all this, you're just gonna finish up buttoning this up. And the last step, take your ribbon cable from the other half of the unit, reinsert it as such, close it up. All right, so I got everything all buttoned up. I tested it, made sure it worked, and here's the final product. You've got this lovely mini USB socket where your brightness control used to be, and you can run that to a wall adapter, any USB port you want. I have an on-off portable USB battery, so I'll just click this button to turn it on, and you can see turns right on. There you go, you know it works. Just so you know, the on-off switch no longer functional, just as a side note. Thanks so much.